Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, we are dealing with widespread dense fog again this morning and also the potential for flash flooding from today all the way through late this week and into the weekend. And we'll also be looking into early and middle February at our weather forecast for the long range forecast later on in today's video. Thanks to all the old subscribers, the new subscribers, and just general viewers out there each and every morning. I do appreciate each and every one of you watching my videos. It is much appreciated. I thank everyone for doing so. Looking right now at our dense fog advisories in the gray, it is covering a large real estate of the country, larger than I have seen it in quite some time, across a good chunk of the Great Plains, a good chunk of the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and New England here as of this morning. In the greens, those are flood watches, as we have a lot of flash flooding potential along the Gulf Coast states and into the southeast through the next few days. Let's first talk about our visibility issues with the dense fog. So this morning you're heading out the door, you're getting ready for work, school, or just to run any errands out there. Take it slow out on those roadways here, especially in open areas where we're melting that snowpack and that fog is very dense here, especially across the heartland of the country, the Corn Belt in particular this morning. And then as we go into the afternoon, we'll start to burn off some of our dense fog here in spots across the Great Plains and across the Ohio Valley. But where that snowpack is the thickest across the Midwest, that's where we'll start to see more of that fog thicken and lower as we go into the afternoon. And even as we go into tonight, we'll start to see more of that dense fog start to redevelop here across the Great Plains. That will be moving over the Midwest and the Ohio Valley again. So I would imagine more dense fog advisories will be needed as we go in toward tonight and your Friday morning. If you are new to the channel and like detailed weather breakdowns across North America and the tropics once we get to tropical weather season, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below, and I would love to hit 75,000 subscribers by the end of this month. We're getting very close. We're only a couple thousand away. I do appreciate it. Also, be sure to press the like button down below. It helps out more than you know. Let's look here at our water vapor imagery this morning. We have a lot of moisture down here across the deep south, in particular the lower Mississippi Valley here today. That deep moisture will be on its way up to the north and east into the Great Lakes and the northeast as we go into tonight. But look at it, trails back across the southeast as we go through the nighttime hours, and then a new surge, a new wave of precipitation and moisture from the Gulf of Mexico will be moving into the Gulf Coast states and the southeast as we go into your Friday time frame. So looking here currently at your weather conditions across the country, we have ongoing heavier thunderstorms down here across the deep south, much like we had yesterday morning. We're continuing to see rounds of rainfall down here, and that's going to reinvigorate our flash flooding threat as we go through the day. So looking at precipitation today, that line of thunderstorms will be progressive. So that's some good news. We're going to see that move through, but it's going to pack a punch. It's going to have a lot of rain with it. Rainfall rates in excess of 1 inch per hour, with the heaviest thunderstorms will be possible here across portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and up into middle Tennessee as we go through the day today. That line of storms will weaken once we get in towards the nighttime hours as we start to stabilize the atmosphere, but that will throw some rain up here across the southern lakes into the northeast. And yes, this will be mostly all rain across this region, with maybe some sleet and freezing drizzle at times mixing in, but I think mostly all rain up here. Not that big of a deal from a frozen precipitation standpoint tonight. We are continuing to monitor the threat for severe weather. It's a low-end risk. This is a level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk for severe weather here into the Jackson, Mississippi area, New Orleans, Mobile, and then on up into the Huntsville region, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Montgomery as we go into your Thursday afternoon time frame. And there is a slight chance, a 2% chance, of a tornado across portions of far western Georgia, most of Alabama there, northwest Florida, southern Mississippi, and southeastern Louisiana through the afternoon. And we'll continue to monitor that situation as it develops. As we go into Friday, another wave of precipitation off the Gulf of Mexico will move inland into the Gulf Coast states. So again, southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and northwest Florida will fall victim to more heavy rainfall as we go in through the Friday time frame, and that will just continue with an atmospheric river of moisture off the Gulf into the southern United States as we go into your Friday night time frame. Here is additional precipitation in inches now through your Friday night time frame on the 26th here, and this is on top of what we've already seen. And you can see down here across the deep south, that is the heaviest axis of heavy rain as we go through that Friday night time frame. And just zooming it in and showing you the totals here, you can see widespread 1 to 3 inches, possibly more than 3 inches in a couple of localized areas from Middle Tennessee down across portions of the Western Carolinas, northern Georgia, and then through most of the states here of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, and that even could extend further west into coastal Texas as we go into your Friday night time frame. This will continue to cause concern for flash flooding. So today into your Friday time frame on the 26th, we have a widespread area of flash flooding potential, a marginal to a slight risk here across the southeast. Make sure you're paying attention to the weather. If you have a flash flood warning issued for your area, that you do take action and seek higher ground, as we do have a lot of runoff. Then as we go from Friday into Saturday, entering into the weekend, still seeing that marginal to slight risk for flash flooding across the deep south and the Gulf Coast states during that time frame. And if you are new to this and you don't know what a slight risk for excessive rainfall means, it just essentially means that scattered flash floods are possible. They're mainly localized, but they could be isolated and significant as well. So definitely something to keep an eye on as we go through the weekend time frame. And speaking of the weekend, looking on Saturday, we have that storm system on Friday continuing to pump moisture into the southeast as we go into Saturday. More heavy rain here for Tennessee, Alabama, getting into Georgia, parts of northwest Florida, and the Carolinas as we go into Saturday. That storm will be lifting up into the mid-Atlantic by Saturday night. This is all liquid precipitation. There's not enough cold air to turn this over to snow, even on the northwest side. So the Ohio Valley here, Louisville, up there towards Cincinnati, and even portions of Charleston, West Virginia, will remain predominantly rain as we go into Saturday night. Going into Sunday, that system and low pressure center off of the North Carolina coast there, continuing to see mild air, so rainfall will be the predominant precipitation type. Wouldn't be surprised, though, if we did see a few snow showers mixing in into places like Ohio, western PA, or down here into West Virginia on Sunday. But I think as we cool down Sunday night, we have enough cold air. It's marginally cold, okay? We're only in the 20s and low 30s here, but we could start to see some wet snow starting to fly across portions of the Northeast and New England. And that rain-snow line is going to be very tricky on where it sets up. Right now, it looks like the Nantucket region, down through eastern Long Island, and even down toward Ocean City here in Maryland. That's kind of that line where that rain-snow line will be. Anywhere north of that axis, we'll see some heavier wet snow. South of that axis, we'll see heavier rainfall across that region as we go into Sunday night. Let's look at our precipitation. This is with our second storm through the weekend. Very heavy rains across the southeast here. This will extend up into North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, getting into the Delmarva region, including southern New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, seeing a few inches of rain with this system going into the weekend. Zooming it in up here toward New England and the Northeast, you can see a few inches of snow are likely as we go into that Saturday time frame, but especially going into the weekend. I think Sunday into Sunday night is likely when we're going to see that most of this accumulate across portions of that I-95 corridor. And yes, there will be pockets in here that could see 5 to as much as 8 inches worth of snow, and we'll keep you updated on this. Some models have more, some models have less, so we'll continue to watch this as we do get closer. A very tricky forecast. Now let's look here as we go into the end of January, into the first full week into February. We have that high pressure blocking up here with the pinks and the reds. That's a high pressure system that tends to bring drier weather, but milder weather this time of year. So that's basically going to eliminate a lot of our snowpack up across southern Canada and the northern United States. We're already melting that snowpack across the Midwest right now. We will continue to do so as we enter into the first week into February. Notice that trough that we see this weekend that's going to kick off the East Coast and move east. Then we turn our attention to the West Coast here, especially in toward California, Oregon, and into Washington State. That's our new trough and new low pressure system, and that tends to bring active weather in the form of rain and snow and cooler weather as we go into that first full week into February. Looking at the temperature anomalies during that January 29th through that February 5th time frame, notice southern Canada and the northern United States, especially the upper Midwest, were likely to be about 15 to 25 degrees above normal for that time of year, and we're still above normal for most of the southern U.S. during this period. The only areas really below normal here will be down here into central and southern Florida, down into Mexico, or portions of the southwest U.S. as we start to see that trough move inland. And then looking at that trough, you can see it's going to be moving into portions there of the west coast. This is going to be providing us the threat for some precipitation, and you can see those precipitation anomalies across the middle and western part of the country, especially there for California, the coastal California, getting well above average precipitation during that Monday, January 29th through Monday, February 5th timeframe. Just looking at some of our initial totals, these are early estimates here. You can see across the West Coast, the immediate West Coast there from Seattle, Portland, down towards Sacramento there, and further west from there, we're likely to see a few inches of rain, and this could actually extend down into Los Angeles, San Diego, and even the Phoenix region, seeing some nice rainfall out of this as we go into that time frame. And looking at that, yes, widespread 1 to 3 inches or more of rain can be expected for western Washington State here, western Oregon, getting down through portions of coastal California, and especially northern California up here as well. But some of that rainfall will be spreading its way eastward into the Four Corners region as well as we go in towards that time frame. Looking at snowfall prospects now, very nice setup for some heavier snowfall for the ski resorts out across the Rockies and the Sierras, absolutely getting crushed with snowfall. We could be getting a couple of feet, and that could be conservative as we go into that time frame. So definitely a good dosing of snow over here into the watershed out west. Definitely good to see. Then as we get into the second week of February, Monday, February 5th through Monday, February 12th time frame, you start to see that trough move in, and that's going to go underneath of that high pressure that's blocking up here into southern Canada. So we're going to see that active storm track. A lot of our low pressure systems will move in across southern California. They'll move east through the Four Corners region into Texas, and then eventually rounding itself up the southeastern coast and then up off the coast of the northeast during this time frame. And this is a favorable setup for nor'easters. You got the cold air off to the west. You have initially some warm air that we have to get rid of for some stronger snowstorms across the east coast, but we're going to start that process during the second week into February. We'll cool down out west. That will bleed east across the southern U.S. and eventually be ticketed for the eastern U.S. as we get into the second week or so of February. We'll start to see above average precipitation during this time. Unfortunately, again, across the southern U.S., we just can't get a break from all that rain and stuff out there and all that flooding. We'll continue to see that as we go into the second week into February again. But this time, we may have some of that cold air to work with. So that cold air out west will start to travel east as we go into the second week or so of February, really toward the middle of the month. That means the snow line will begin to shift further south here into the upper Midwest, the upper Great Lakes, and possibly interior New England as we go from Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire into New York State, and even northern Pennsylvania during that February 5th through the 12th time frame, especially if we can get a low pressure system and a nor'easter right off the coast of Cape Cod there and further to the east with that low pressure track. That would put the heavier snow on the northwest side of those lows across that region for heavy snow during that period. Make sure to hit the like button button down below. It definitely helps out more than you know. And subscribe to the channel, as we have detailed weather breakdowns coming up for you every single day for the next several days and beyond. And also share this video with friends, family, and on social media. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday out there.